Today on the Cardinal Sports Network, it's track and field competition with Lawrence taking on Nottingham and Wilberforce in both running events and in the high jump. I'm joined today by Coach Tim Collins here in the broadcast booth, and we're looking forward to a great meet here, aren't we, Mr. Collins?
Yep, looks to be a good day, good competition, so we'll see how things go.
Okay, first we're going to head over to the running event for the start of the boys 400 hurdle.
And 400 meters, it's once around, a series of 10 hurdles they've got to navigate. And Nottingham will be in navy blue, and I'm not sure if Wilberforce has anyone in this particular heat.
Yes, I think their outfits are very similar to the Nottingham, aren't they?
They are.
But we've got two runners in red, and they're from Lawrence.
And a lot of people consider the 400 hurdles actually the toughest event in track and field because not only are you sprinting for 400 meters, as you can see, the Nottingham athlete, but you're also going over hurdles that are fairly high. So it's a tough event, half strength, half speed.
And they have to stay in their own lane for this entire event too, don't they?
Yeah, there's no cutting in. They'll stay in their lanes the entire way around. But you can sort of see the second half of this race when the hurdles start to hurt a little bit.
Yes, also where the runners who are on the inner lanes look like they're closing, it's because of the shorter distance.
Yeah, so the people on the outside start a little further out, and right about now they should be even where they're. You can sort of see now the proper placing for everyone.
And it looks like Nottingham's going to be coming in first, second, and third.
Yeah, they've got some different uniforms on, but they're all Nottingham.
Yes, we got the North Stars on our center runner there. That is the name of the Nottingham team.
And Nottingham's one of the better teams in the county and even in the state with their sprinters. So you'll see them doing very well in the sprint areas today, especially on the boys' side.
And we're going to take a quick look at the high jump here in a moment. There we are. We're starting off with the girls at the rather low bar for the moment.
Opening height normally for the girls about 4 feet right there.
And that was another one of the Nottingham athletes making her jump. Now we're going to head for girls 400 hurdles.
And we've got Sarah Simius in lane 2 and Lauren Edgar in lane 4.
And they're off to a start there. Looks like Nottingham out in the lead on this one, but we've got runners closing on the inner lanes.
Yep, got a balance thing going out too quick. Nottingham girl looks good. So let's see if she can hold on. And the Lawrence girl's chasing.
You may have heard the PA in the background. There's lots of different events going on during a track meet. We're only covering two actual areas of expertise here today, the high jump and all of the running events on the track. But other events that are happening as this is taking place, they've got discus, they've got the hurdles, they've got the javelin throw.
Yeah, there's about 15 events between the track and the field and the relays. So you can sort of see the Lawrence girls have caught up a little bit. Nottingham still got the lead, but the lead's much more narrow now. And now Sarah's just a stride behind her.
Yeah, it's going to be a close finish here.
And Nottingham looks like she just holds her off, both of them. So second and third for Lawrence. Top three.
Good strong run there.
Absolutely. Top 3 places in every event. Top 3 only.
Well, the Lawrence track team has been doing very well this year, haven't they?
Yeah, we're a little smaller, but we're off to a good start. A couple good wins against Steiner.
Notably, the girls' relay team has had very strong outings.
Yes. And later on in the year, we'll be trying to qualify for nationals in a couple different events. And this appears to be Sanaya Patterson, and she's over at 4 feet.
A successful jump.
Clear the track at hurdles. Lawrence.
And now we're going to the boys 100-meter dash. First heat of that. This is one of those events that's over quickly.
So take between 11 and 12 seconds.
And the runners are all grouped together pretty tightly. And it looks like Lawrence got the win there in lane 3.
And that's Dion McLean. He's our best sprinter on our team and one of the better sprinters actually in the county. So you saw him beat the Nottingham sprinters, who I said were really good. And Dion's one of the top in the county as well.
Another North Star jumper there with a successful jump. Just barely touched the bar.
As long as that bar doesn't fall over, that's a successful jump.
Once again for another heat race of the boys 100-meter dash. And this one looks like it's going to be another Lawrence win, as both Lawrence runners getting out ahead of North Stars.
Trey Jones is on the inside there. Couldn't tell which one had it, but they both looked pretty good there.
Good routing for Lawrence.
And that's Sarah Simius, so I think she's a little tired from the 400 hurdle she just ran.
But she'll get 2 more attempts at that height, won't she?
Yeah, she'll clear that. That's low for her. She's one of our better high jumpers. Her best is 4 feet 10 inches, which is as tall as a lot of people that are competing here in this meet today. A lot of the girls, she could jump right over their heads.
Now the girls will have a chance at the 100-meter dash.
We've got Heaven Cartwright on the inside. Vanessa Valandra Riggins on the other side, but winning it is Kaylin Hemingway.
And she was out there all the way, wasn't she?
Yeah, there's daylight between her. So we go 1, 2, 3 in that. And our sprinters, like you were talking about before, our relays are pretty good, and those are 3 reasons why.
Oh, not quite.
Sarah's got to invert her body a little bit. She's just trying to jump over it, and you've got to sort of wrap your body around it.
How many different events will an athlete typically partake in one of these events?
Depends on the athlete, of course, but there's rules that you can only compete in a maximum of 4 events. So some of the better athletes will compete in 4 events. A lot of times 2 or 3 events would be the average.
Well, speaking of events, here comes the next one with the girls doing the 100-meter dash.
And this is Zoe Lang in the middle there, and Lene Lopez running away with this heat. And Lene is improving enough that she's a varsity member of our very good relay team. So that was Lene Lopez winning that heat. And actually her time was good enough, she might actually bump one of the girls from the seeded heat and score for us, because that was a very good time she ran. Very good race.
Now back over to the high jump.
So that's probably 4.3, since Sanaya had cleared the opening height of 4 feet. That's our first attempt.
Now the boys 100-meter dash once again.
Yeah, a lot of heats. In events, there are 1 or 2 events where we can have unlimited, and for today it'll be the 100 meters. So you see a lot of 100-meter racers today.
And this one's very close. Looks like Nottingham going to pull out the win in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one of the Wilberforce, 2 of the Wilberforce runners in that event as well.
Oh.
That last step didn't have a lot of spring to it, so she looked much better going over 4 feet.
She'll get another chance. And here come more of the boys for the 100-meter dash. Another tight grouping. Looks like Lawrence may be running in second in this one. And Nottingham on the inside lane there for the win.
Yeah, good mix of all three teams in that particular heat.
There was a clean jump.
You'd think you just might have heard her say that. I was about to say it was terrible too. Kaylin knows she's their best high jumper. She's just so talented. She was able to just jump over that, but her footwork was awful. She knows that. So she can jump. Her best this year so far is 5 feet 2 inches.
Sounds like she was looking for perfection there.
Yeah.
And Lawrence will come across the line in third and fourth for this one.
Yeah.
Nottingham with the win.
And good thing on the boys and the girls side, especially the boys, lots of young runners, freshmen and sophomores. So bright future for the boys.
Once again, another 100-meter dash heat race. And we've got a lot of Lawrence runners in this one. And Nottingham took the first 2 spots. Lawrence in third. Almost.
Sarah is not having a very good day in the high jump. You can tell by her body language. She knows it.
Yeah, you have days like that sometimes.
Yep,
don't you?
absolutely. Yeah, she's a fine jumper, but those were not her best jumps.
Okay, this is the last of the 100-meter dashes for the boys. And it looks like Lawrence is going to come home in third on this one. Now, even for the runners who aren't scoring points here, it's all about a personal best, isn't it?
Yeah, the great thing, whenever we've done these broadcasts before that I mentioned about in track is wins and losses are important, but you get to measure your own performance. So you can sort of see what best throw or jump or time you did and use that as a metric of whether you were successful or not. And that's sort of the neat thing. They can check their times and see if they improved. So
now we'll go to the girls' 100-meter dash.
And again, the boys and girls are the JV heats. You saw the varsity heats earlier. So you have Kaya Williams and Sanaya Patterson from Lawrence here.
Now, Lawrence easily in second. That third was right down to the wire there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that would be tough, especially from our angle, to tell which person got that there. Looks like they let a false start go away there, too. Sarah is not going to remember this day very well. Like I said, she's a fine high jumper.
Okay, and next up, another heat race for the girls' 100-meter dash.
And that's Sarah Urias as a first Lawrence girl, and Shannon O'Neill.
I think Sarah hung on for second in that one.
I'd agree with that. It's about time, Sarah. Come on there. There she is.
She seemed happy about that one.
Yes. After some un-Sarah-like jumps before, that's much better.
And here we have another 100-meter girls dash.
And we've got Ariana Corrigan.
She's well out of the lead in this one.
And also we've got Daria Loving there, sort of finish up. That's Ariana, freshman. And then Daria Loving, who's been with us for a couple of years as well.
It's good to see runners of all different levels getting out there and giving it their all.
Absolutely. Like you said, we have a no-cut policy. There, that's much better jump from Caitlin than her first jump. You sort of see the form as she arched her back up and around the bar, as opposed to just trying to jump straight up and over it.
But she still wasn't happy with that.
Nah, well, you want to be good, you got to have high expectations. And this
100-meter dash once again for the girls.
Yep, Rhea Revanker, another freshman for us. Good form. You can sort of see her way she's swinging her arms, her knees up.
And as a freshman, she'll have a few more years here to try and improve on it.
Absolutely. Oh, Sarah.
Now we're going to move over to the boys' 1,600-meter run.
Yep, commonly known to people as the mile.
This is getting a little closer to cross country than it is to a sprint race.
Yep, or distance runners. So Lawrence has less people than Nottingham and Wilberforce, but three pretty good athletes, three young athletes, two juniors and a freshman.
Now, speaking of longer events, toward the end of this event, or of this match, we're going to have 3,200-meter run. Will we see some of these same runners in that event?
Yeah, it's not unusual. When we talked about running more than one events, so the sprinters might run the 100 and the 200 meters, and so for the distance runners, you might see them run the mile and the half mile, or do the mile and the 2 mile. So two of these runners will probably come back in the 2 mile. One of them may come back in the 800 meters. So that's number one runner for us right there is Colin McDermott, and on his shoulder is just only a junior, Solomon Beckford, but this is really only his second year of track. So although he's a junior, he's sort of a sophomore in experience. And then tucking in behind them is junior Devin Meth, whose best event is the 2 mile, but he's still one of our top milers as well.
Now, these longer runs, it's all about the pace you set, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. So 4 laps for this, and going out too fast, and you might end up dying. So this pace seems like it's a steady enough pace.
Now, dying would be slang in track, right?
They won't physically die. They'll feel like they'll feel like they're actually dying, but no, more of a cramp up and tighten up, and then slow down much worse than if they just pace themselves to whatever they think they can withstand or sustain for 4 laps.
Conversely, if they hold too much back, they lose time.
Exactly. And it looks like no one's getting out too far ahead, so I just saw the leader there, I believe Wilberforce, looking around. I say right now, Solomon looks the best. He's really got some nice form for someone who really just took up running his sophomore year.
He does seem to be running quite naturally right now.
A lot of hard work goes into making it look easy. So, and again, on his outside shoulder, Cullen, who's only a freshman and really had a fantastic indoor season, and was one of the top 10 freshmen in the county indoors in both the mile and the 2 mile. So he's got a bright future ahead of him as well.
Now, we see some of the runners running side by side, which means in the corners they're running a longer distance, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't worry about that too much in these circumstances. Sometimes it's good because you can stay out of trouble. Single file is nice, but then you might get caught behind, like this little move that Solomon made. You know, he gets out a little bit ahead. So what it's called is running on someone's shoulder. If you're way out in lane 2, you're covering a lot more distance. But if you're just on someone's shoulder, an extra foot or two does make as big a difference when you're running at this pace. The higher levels it does, but not in a dual meet like this.
I imagine over in lane 6 it'd be quite a difference.
Yeah. You don't want to get caught out there.
Now, the athletes who are not participating in this event, who are in between other events, are watching on intently to see how this is going.
Yeah, it looked like no one's made a big move until now. It looks like Wilberforce sort of challenging Solomon. Solomon holds him off a little bit. Last lap, you saw the bell being rung.
For that.
Yep.
Yes.
And we'll see. Good tight race. 4 people, 2 Wilberforce, 2 Lawrence. Now, Cullen moved back up. He had moved back a little bit, so it looks like he's trying to get back into the picture here.
Now, at some point in this last lap, you're going to give it your all as a runner.
And it depends on when. Do you want to go now? Do you want to wait 100 meters? So everyone's sort of trying to gauge, how far out do they kick in. So right now they got about, they're going to come up to a point with about 200 meters, half a lap, right about there. So 200 meters left.
And we got a challenge for the lead on the outside.
And Solomon smartly holds him off by pushing ahead a little bit, whereas you were talking about before, right now it is important. So holding him off, making him run those extra couple steps on the outside.
Yes, it only takes one step to win the race.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if he's got another challenge for Solomon. Looks like he does. Oh, he times it very well. And here comes Cullen kicking in. And there comes Will. Wow, he looks like the best kick here. Interesting.
Solomon may have used it up there.
Yep, he was leading for quite a bit of the race, and so that ends up taking a little bit more energy as opposed to staying behind, letting them block the wind for you and set the pace. So Wilberforce did very well for both of those runners kicking at the end. And that's Devin Meth. Again, he's our top 2-miler and top cross-country runner on our team for the past several years.
Come on, you bum!
I think Kaylin said it all on that last jump. That wasn't so much as a jump.
And here go the girls for the 1,600-meter run. What can we expect to see out of the Lawrence team in this one?
Well, again, a young team. So we have one freshman and two sophomores, but they've been doing very well this year. So the Nottingham girl in navy blue is a freshman. She's a very good, talented athlete. She's on their swim team and I think on their soccer team. And she's already posted some good 2-mile times for the season. We've got our best runner in the mile this year, just took the lead there, is freshman Sarah Kuwar. Right behind her, running with the Nottingham girl, is Molly Latoff, a sophomore who's improved very much from last year. And our third girl currently out of the picture is Kavya Singh, who just started running this indoor season for the first time and has been doing very, very well.
Well, every one of them's got to have a first season.
Yep. But all three of them have great work ethics and fantastic attitudes. So they've had some success already, and they're going to continue to be very successful.
Now, how many of these runners would you expect to see when next year's cross-country season starts up?
Well, Sarah, first runner, and Molly both ran cross-country this past season for the Lady Cards, who qualified for sectionals for the third year in a row after about a 17-year absence. So the girls' cross-country team has been back on the move. Kavya Sin has never run cross-country, but she's made a decision that she will be joining cross-country as well. So all three
wonderful.
girls, will be a pretty strong squad, along with Madeline Weeks and several other girls. So the girls are hopeful that they will qualify for states for their fourth year this year.
Well, that's really nice when you have girls who are running a good game and they're not seniors.
Yes.
Gives you hope for the next year as well.
Always good to see. Yeah, seniors, we always love to see seniors do well, but we like to sort of see the underclassmen. So that means that the success will be continued.
And as the camera pans across there, you got a quick glimpse of both the pole vault and some of the other jumping competitions that are held there.
Yep, in the sand pit, that would be both the long jump and the triple jump. So the girls look like they're in control right now. They're running together, helping each other, pace each other.
I'm sure at this point, one of those two girls is holding back a little to stay with the other one.
Sarah does have a better mile time. And sometimes she's a very ambitious runner early on. So, we've sort of been instructed to sort of, again, like we talked about earlier, the boys' race, to pace yourself a little bit better so you have something for the middle and the end of the race.
So running with her teammate may actually help her pace.
Yes. We sort of see Kaylin lining up for another high jump in the foreground right there as well. And it also looks like Kavya has moved up as well. If you don't get dizzy at home.
Yeah, a little trouble with the camera on that shot. With all the light poles and fence poles around, even with running two cameras on our races, we can't get an unobstructed shot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a nice facility.
Yes, it is. The turf field still looking beautiful. The plastic hasn't died off yet. And it's opened up opportunities that they're able to hold events in the evening as well with all the LED lighting that was put up.
And for our throwers, we have a new discus cage for the pole vaulters, all the mats, and they're all brand new. So it's a nice facility for track and field, lacrosse, soccer, football. Girls look good. Molly and Sarah, they look like they're starting to pick it up a little bit from the earlier lap. See Kavya sort of back in 4th place, but well ahead of the other 2 Nottingham girls that are way back.
And there's the bell for the final lap.
And Sarah's starting to take off, as you see. She's on the swim team in the winter, so she's got a good aerobic base from all the swimming she does with the successful swim program we have.
Sounds like a busy athlete.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to all the working out, training and practicing that these guys and girls do, they also study sometimes too, right?
Well, and we're very fortunate, especially on the girl side, all the good academic backgrounds that they have. So our girls do very well in the classroom. And so that's something that we make a point of. It's, I think some of the same attributes that make you a successful student can make you a successful athlete in terms of being organized and setting a goal and putting in the time to be successful.
Yeah, so overall commitment is good for both.
Oh, yeah. So Sarah pulls away and looking real good here. Again,
Well,
just a freshman.
In the afterburners on that lap,
Yeah,
didn't she?
yeah. So you can sort of see she's got tons of potential to be a really, really good runner, and she's very good this year. But so she's almost lapping the girl ahead of her.
And there's the win.
And you can sort of see the girl from Nottingham. She's very successful. She's very good too. She kicked past Molly in that last lap to get the 2nd place.
And you can see the toll it took on her just by looking at her face.
Oh, yeah. And Molly in 3rd, and then Kavya coming up in 4th.
The girls are doing well for the most part after that. Now we'll take another look at the high jump.
And you can see this is a great shot now because you can see Kaylin on her whole approach. And see, she didn't bend her, she didn't get that pelvis arched up. You almost want an upside down U when you get around that pole.
Yes, there was actually a time when they didn't use that backwards method of getting over the bar, wasn't there?
Every now and then, we had a girl last year doing it. And it's called a scissors kick. And you just stand up and you stand over and your legs sort of form a scissor around the bar. And then in the 1970s, Dick Fosbury he's the first person that instead of jumping over it front way or sideways, decided to turn his back, which is what everyone sort of is familiar with if you've ever seen it or you've been seeing it on these shots. It's called the Fosbury flop. So you turn your back to it and you sort of flop over it. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's how most people do their jumping. Some people still do the scissor kick, and like I said, we even had a girl last year be very successful doing a completely different style of high jump, but mostly do the Fosbury.
Well, they're not flopping right now as the boys are running the 400-meter dash.
And they're mixing up pretty good here. But again, Nottingham does have very strong sprinters.
We've got Nottingham, Wilberforce, and Lawrence
too.
all
Yeah.
taking top 3 positions.
Crew behind the yellow line, please. Move behind the yellow line so we can see the starter.
Girls high jump looks like it's finished. Oh, there you go. That's the scissors. So perfect.
Good timing.
Yeah. And so he was straight up. He faced the bar, jumped up in the air, and just scissored his legs over it.
Now the boys' 400-meter dash, second heat. And they get off to a good start. You can see how the different lanes make a difference. Inside lane having to come from further back, but it's the same distance in the long run.
Correct. Just so on the curve to make it even, if you're starting an outside lane, you start a little bit ahead, but everyone's running 400 meters. And then when they come around this last turn, that's where you sort of see where they're equal.
And they're approaching that first turn as we speak. In fact, here come runners onto the front stretch.
That's Trey Jones there looking good. I think that's Trey, right? Yeah, that's Trey Jones looking good. Good form.
Well, he came on there in the far end of the course.
Yeah, that's fantastic form. He's straight ahead, arms pumping.
And that'll be a win. Lawrence coming in with a third as well. Back to the high jump we go.
Yeah, so girls jumps over. Oh, that was a nice jump. Was that? I think that's Davon Boykin. He cleared that by a mile.
Yeah, that was a pretty good jump. Now we're going to see the girls do the 400-meter dash. This is their first heat, first of two.
Okay, so two girls we saw earlier in the 100-meter dash, and two of our best sprinters. So that's Heaven Cartwright up in the foreground there on the left, and Valandra Riggins, who's our fastest 400-meter runner, ran under 59 seconds last year for the 400 and qualified for states with that time. And you can sort of see how they sort of pushed in lead. They're 1-2 right now.
Yes, we got the one set of turns to go here. Let's see how that affects things. About even coming off the corner.
Yeah, Valandra's going to be a little bit in the lead when she gets to the straightaway. See, two different styles of running. They're both right there, neck and neck. Looks like Heaven's pulling away now. It looks like Heaven's going to win that heat. She's a junior, and Valandra is a senior coming in second.
So 1-2 finish for Lawrence.
Valuable points.
Here comes two remaining runners from Wilberforce, going for their personal best.
So that was successful. It wasn't a very good jump. That was sort of like Sarah. He wasn't getting his butt up in the air, but that young man was so talented he was able to jump straight up and over the bar.
And now the second heat of the girls' 400-meter dash. Only got two runners in this one.
Yep, and the Lawrence runner is Anna Kolomatatskia, and she's a freshman. She did run cross country, and you can see she's got very good form as well in terms of lining up her hands and her, her foot placement on her toes. So she's got excellent form.
Looks like she'll get a good solid second place out of this one.
Yep. You never know what's going to happen, but the girl in first looks pretty strong. Very strong.
Yes. And it'll be North Stars in first and Lawrence in second.
All right, Lawrence. Hurdle crew, hurdle on the track.
Well, at first, I thought he was going to do the scissors, and then I think he did
Maybe
the Fosbury.
Well, now we're going to move to something a little different. We have the boys 100 hurdles first heat coming up.
So actually, specifically, there's a little bit. This is the boys. It's the 110 hurdles. The girls do 100 hurdles. A little bit slight difference in that.
Oh, and they're higher as well, aren't they?
Yeah, we call them the high hurdles. When they go the 400, it's the intermediates, but these are called the high hurdles. And you can see how amazing some people are. This guy's going like a hot knife through butter here.
He's headed for the Olympics.
Yeah. But these hurdles are pretty high. You can see when the guys come down how high they are compared to their body. So this is not an easy event. Just trying to sprint and jump over those hurdles.
Also a lengthy bit of setup for that.
There's a scissor again.
And that didn't cut it.
Boys and girls, 800 meters. First call.
So we'll have another heat of the boys 110 meter high hurdle. Just 2 runners in this one. Now I see the runners hitting the top of the bar and knocking the hurdle over sometimes. Is that a penalty in this event?
Yeah, it is not. It is not. You can hit. It is. I didn't mean to laugh. I know how difficult the high jump is too. It's not. You can hit every single hurdle. They're just obstacles to slow you down. So if you don't hit them, you're gonna probably travel faster. As long as you don't travel into the other lane with your arms or legs, you're fine.
Oh, here come the girls, and they're going to give it a shot.
And goes back to our high jumper, Kaylin Hemingway, who's one of the best at this in the county. Actually, she won this at the county title last year.
And she's showing that form again here, isn't she?
Oh, yeah. And that is Sarah Simius on the inside, getting 3rd place for us.
I think we got a 4th in there as well.
Yeah, Lauren Edgar and Cassie Ankener as well.
Now we'll move to the boys' 800 meter run.
Yep, this is 2 laps around, and you might recognize Cullen McDermott, who ran the mile earlier. He's in this, as is Solomon Beckford, who ran the mile too. So they're both doubling back. And running fresh is senior Hugo Ruano, who's had a really good season this year and has looked sharp and strong the entire season. He's a very nice senior year, so looks good out there. He's in 2nd place, and we'll see what he can do.
Now, when they're coming into this event, some of them are fresh and some of them have run other events. How does that affect their performance?
Well, it can depend on the talent of the individual. So the better you are, sometimes even if you've run a race, you can still defeat the other people. The better shape you're in allows you to run more events. If you're not in very good shape, it's tough to do this doubling back. So you can see Solomon ran the mile, and he's already in, looks like 3rd, 4th place there. So although he's run a mile, he's still be able to tow it up with some of these other guys. Some of them may have run the mile, some people are fresh.
There's a move for 2nd place.
Yep. I think Hugo probably should have gone with him right there. So Nottingham way out in 1st.
And no challenge for the win at this point.
Not at all.
Yeah, Hugo's still got 2nd in sight, but it's going to be a tough chore to catch him in the amount of
Yep, he does
time
not
left.
look as sharp as he has this year, so we'll sort of see how the race finishes up. But the race is not over, so you never know what will happen.
So here comes Nottingham heading toward the finish line. And you can see everyone strung out pretty much single file all the way back.
So Nottingham, Wilberforce, and then Hugo.
So Lawrence will get 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yep. Cullen, you can see a lot of heart there. Solomon, 4th and 5th place. Nice. And that's their 2nd event.
And that didn't quite make it. Now we'll see the girls with their 800 meter run.
So we have 2 girls doubling back from the mile. That would be Kavya Singh and Sarah Kuwar. And running a race that she's just started to run is Zoe Lang. So she's a junior. She's out there in the front. She's normally a 400 meter runner, but she's been dabbling with the 800. And looks like she has some abilities to it. So that's Zoe, and then Sarah going into second right behind her.
Would it be possible for one of these girls to actually do two separate sports in the same season?
Actually, Anna just, I don't know why I keep calling her Anna. Sarah just asked me about that last week. In New Jersey, you're not allowed to do two sports in the same season unless it's something, what they say, I don't say non-competitive, but non-urgent sport. I'm using the wrong word. So, for instance, you could be on the bowling team, and that would be okay, but you can't be on the track team and the baseball team. So you can't do that. So I think in days past or in other states it's possible, but a lot of states do not allow that to do that. They don't want the athlete to get hurt by participating in two sports in a single season. You would think a soccer person might be great for kicking for the football team in the same season, but they can't be in the same season.
Well, I'm sure both teams' coaches would want the player there for all the rehearsals.
Yeah.
That would make it problematic.
That would as well. Yep, absolutely.
And not to mention that study time we referred to earlier.
Yep. And speaking, and like I said, we talked about the other girls before. They're all good. Zoe Lang is doing very well with DECA and her studies as well. So they don't just do athletics. They're doing an incredible amount of studying and homework on their time after practice and meets.
Yes, the DECA team went down to Florida and did quite well in that outing as well.
Yep, Zoe was part of that trip as well. So it's Sarah Kuar, a freshman right now, potentially winning her second event at this meet. Looking pretty good. Zoe Lang, as a sprinter, just learning this event. So she's right there, though. She's starting to close in on Sarah. Sarah doesn't realize she's there. So this might be a nice little finish between the two teammates.
And a battle for third going on in the background as well.
And again, this is only about Zoe's second or third time doing this event. So winning it. And you're right. Kavya kicking past to get third place. So a sweep for the Lady Cards in the 800. 1, 2, 3.
Excellent job. Here comes Nottingham to the bar. And there went the bar.
Yeah, I can tell you with that event, that was just a jog up to the bar. So yeah. You can't come up jogging that slow and expect to clear the bar that way. You're going to need a little speed to get you going.
Well, now we have the boys 200-meter dash.
We got Nate Ballard in there, I think, in lane 4, I believe.
And it looks like Nottingham's going to take the first two spots, while Lawrence will take third and fourth.
Yeah, not too bad. Like I said, Nottingham is the class of the field in the county with the sprinters they have on the boys' side.
Very impressive runners.
Oh, that was a nice bend. That young man, that's a big man to be to high jump. So he's very athletic, getting his body up like that.
And here we have another heat of the boys 200-meter dash.
You can see, if you're wondering why all those runners are kneeling behind them, they've got their feet down on their starting blocks to make sure the starting blocks don't move when the sprinters take off and push against them. We don't want them slipping, so they're down there and their feet are holding the starting blocks.
Yes, and with the cost of this track, there's no way anybody would allow spikes to be put into it. So Lawrence with third and fourth in that heat.
Okay, bars at 5 feet 3 inches. We have 3 people still in.
Oh my gosh. That was a fantastic leap by Davon Boykin. Again, way over the bar.
Yep, no chance of contact on that one.
No.
Okay, we have another heat of the boys 200-meter dash.
I think this might be Matt Stern.
Yeah, we've only got 2 runners in this one. He's got his work cut out for him to try and catch this guy.
Mm-hmm. You can say he's trying as hard as he can. You can tell that. He closed down a little bit.
Good effort.
Yeah, he made up a little bit of ground there on that straightaway. Again. Looked like that was Corey Frost there, jumping over the bar and clearing it by quite a bit.
Yep. Now we're going to have the girls with their 200-meter dash.
And again, Valandra Riggins, who you saw in the 100 and the 400, she's to the left of the screen. And on the inside is Lene Lopez. And Valandra looking very good, pulling away in the 200. And Lene's coming on strong in the inside. So it looks like might have got first and third on that one.
Yeah, good run by both girls.
As we mentioned before, so that is Valandra's third event, the 100, the 400, and now the 200.
You can see the starter, 200-meter race.
I'm impressed by this young man, just a big guy, looks like a football player, and just able to just, not the perfect form, but he can just jump up in that air. Strong.
And this will be our last heat for the girls' 200-meter dash.
Yep, and we saw these girls in the 100 before, so that's Sarah Urias on the right-hand side. And let's say that might be Anna on the left side. Tough to see. Yep, Anna, who we saw in the 400, Anna Klomoskaya.
And I think she's going to bring it in for a second-place finish.
Yep.
And Wilberforce finishing it out.
He couldn't go over normal though, but he could scissor.
And there's Corey with another successful jump.
Now, at the end of the event, because in dual meets, there's not a lot of runners for each team. For the 2 mile, they combine that. So they take the boys' 2 mile and the girls' 2 mile and combine it into one heat. Gets a little confusing if you don't know who's where, because some people will lap other runners.
And this is a 3,200-meter run.
Correct.
This is the long one.
Yep. So it's twice as long as the mile. It's known as the 2 mile, and 8 laps. So not for the faint of heart.
No, and while we have both the boys and the girls on the track at the same time, they're being scored separately, aren't they?
Correct. Yep.
Now, we had a couple girls in the event, but the one guy that was supposed to be in there, I think, had to drop out at the last moment.
Yep, I think there were some health issues, I think, for both runners after running that event. I never want to put someone, especially if they've already competed, and they're not feeling physically able to do it. You don't want to put them in a situation of injury or poor health, so we scratched, I think, 2 of the boys' runners.
Yeah, especially in an event of this length, you wouldn't want to put someone out there who wasn't at their best.
Yep. And then Molly, who we saw earlier in the mile, Molly Vitolf as a sophomore, she's in there. And for the first time this meet, we're seeing Madeline Weeks there on your left. She's a sophomore. She was the #1 finisher on the cross-country team this year and actually set a course record at one of the events. So she was one of the better runners actually in the county, even just as a sophomore. So she's running this fresh, and she should do well, as should Molly. So there's actually only 3 girls I see in this heat. So the one Nottingham girl who won the mile earlier in the meet, and then the 2 Lawrence girls.
And right now the girls are all setting their pace together, trying to go the distance.
Yep, especially after running, 2 of them running an event earlier. No one wants to go out and run hard all by themselves. They'd rather just sit together and at some point someone make a move.
Well, the boys aren't thinking that, as we've got a couple people trying to go out and run all by themselves.
Yep. I think the Wilberforce in the lead. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he might be the young man that won the mile.
Second call, boys and girls.
Still got a ways to go.
Boys will be going first, followed by the girls.
And as we said earlier, you can see the three girls still running together and actually maintaining pace with some of the boys.
Yeah, actually, tells you how good those girls are.
Absolutely. And nobody's keeping pace with the two boys out front.
No. But anyone want to, whether you're a runner yourself or even if you're just a jogger out there and you want to sort of see how to run, you can watch Molly and Maddie in terms of how they're running. They've got much better form even than the girl from Nottingham, who's very good, and much better form than some of the boys. So you can sort of see their shoulders are down, nice and relaxed. Their hands are down. If I was to critique that Wilberforce young man, I'd say his hands are a little bit too high in the air.
Do you think perhaps he's gone out hard too soon on this one?
I think he's okay. He proved himself in the mile. Well, Cersei, he looks sharper than the Nottingham runner right now.
Yeah, he's got a little wobble to the head there already.
Yeah, he's slogging it a little bit, so.
And I believe she's holding up a lap chart for the runners, isn't she?
Yeah, especially, again, because there's so many laps involved, and then because you do have boys and girls where they get spaced out, you can forget, and it's happened before, how many laps you have left. And the officials have to stay on their job, because if they give the wrong lap, someone might end too early or run one lap too many.
Now, the uniforms we see going by right now with the stars on there, that's the Nottingham North Stars. And that's actually the same team as this gentleman with the light blue tank top that says Nottingham on it.
Yeah, just sort of over the years, as you replace uniforms and, budgets being what they are, sometimes JV athletes might have a little bit different. That's the unique thing about track and field, unlike some other sports where there's a completely separate JV team or a completely separate freshman team. Everyone's sort of competing together. So whereas JV uniforms might look different than a varsity uniform and they're in a separate game, it's not as visible. But here in track and field, we have freshmen and JVs running right with the varsity. So it's got its challenges, but it's also gives a lot of opportunity. You can race against everybody.
Now, I'm sure the viewers will have noticed this, but the track is surrounding the football field, where we have a lot of the athletes hanging out, but we also have access to the football bleachers. So a lot of parents, relatives, friends coming out to watch these events.
Yeah, and encourage everyone, especially our sport, but every sport, to come and cheer for the Lawrence athletes. It makes a difference. The kids, I think, compete better and harder when they know family and friends are out there cheering for them and watching them. And we only had 2 home meets this year, and I believe next year we'll up that to 3 home meets. So come on down and watch it. They're normally good weather. You can see this facility is a beautiful facility and good competition.
Now, with so many different events going on at the same time,
Something
you need to see more than one meet.
Something for everybody. It's like a carnival. Even if you're in the stands, you can watch the pole vault, the long jump, high jump, triple jump, and what's ever on the track. You could actually even sort of turn your head a little bit and see some of the discus, javelin, and shot put. But you're right, there's plenty to see.
One of the other meets this year, we had cameramen following around the throwing events, and those are in sequential order, so you can catch all 3 of the throwing events in one outing.
Yeah. And again, those are interesting events too. Shot put being obviously the heavy metal round ball that boys and girls are trying to push through the air. Javelin, the spear, and discus, sort of the plate-like implement that you fling.
Big heavy metal frisbee.
Oh yeah. Can't play ultimate frisbee with that.
No, you wouldn't want to catch it. They have a very substantial safety backstop for that discus event.
Yeah.
Just to try and keep people from getting hurt. I was noticing the javelin throw, they seem to have evolved to a blunt end that they're throwing first.
Yeah, well, that's our state. I mean, because of incidents that have happened in the past, the javelin in New Jersey for high school only, not college, but high school only, has a rubber tip attached to it. There have been instances, again, I really shouldn't laugh, but there have been instances where the javelins pierce through someone, an official or an athlete. And so there's that rubber tip that makes that almost impossible to happen. However, when you go to college, there is no rubber tip. It's just, you just got to be careful. You can't be in the javelin field. And even in some other states, high school let that go. So you can see Madeline and the Nottingham girl have pulled away from Molly. And even right now, the Nottingham girl looks like she's making a move on Madeline a little bit. And then Madeline looks like she's covering the move. She's got a couple steps on her. And that's Molly. So with the limited amount of runners, Molly will certainly get third. And if you notice, too, if you look at her feet, she had run the mile earlier, and she switched into her trainers, which are slower and heavier, to protect her feet. She's just running this to get points for the team, but she didn't want to run with her spikes on it. Might cause some calf pains or anything like that, running 3 miles on spikes in the track. So we opted that she put her trainers on. You notice these boys all have their spikes on. So that's another reason Molly will be running a little bit slower. She's just doing it to get the points, and she also has her trainers on.
Very interesting.
I'll tell you, I know I'm there all the time, and I already said this a couple of times, I really like the look of the facility. It just, it's a sharp-looking facility, and a much improvement over what we had several years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Even with the sprinkler system, it was very tough to keep that infield in pristine condition. Mm-hmm. It quite often turned into a mud field.
Oh, absolutely. And that used to happen with the baseball fields on the upper field, too. And now, with that turf, too, that's a beautiful facility as well.
And one of the upgrades this year to the baseball field, they've extended the height of the fence along the parking lot to try and keep some of the foul balls away from the cars.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a problem, but apparently, yes. It's
been a problem.
Bouncing off some cars and doors and windshields.
Yes. In fact, one of our broadcasts last year, the same car got hit twice.
That's just bad luck.
It was moving. Now, as we said earlier, these two runners are being scored very differently.
Mm-hmm.
So while they might not be on the same lap, that's not quite as big a deficit as what it might seem.
Yeah, it looked like for Molly, 2 laps left for her and 1 lap for the boys.
But as you said, she's going to do, at worst, third in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, score some points. And again, she'll have run the 3 miles on the track. So not an easy thing to do. So she's going moderate. We've talked about this before. And so, lots of races, lots of workouts, and got to pace yourself through the season as well.
Yeah, this race seems to go on for quite a while, but we had first runner come in from the boys. Girls have to go another lap still. And you're right, she still looks very relaxed with her run. Doesn't seem to be any distress there.
Yep, she just naturally has had very good running form.
Just caught a shot of a cameraman there. That's actually one of the security guards from the high school who, as a hobby, likes to come out and take pictures for the different athletes and their families. We've got two of our security guards who do that. Very nice thing they do for the kids.
Yeah, Benny and Sam, they do a fantastic job for team photos and individual photos and action. So they do a fantastic job. So a lot of the boys finishing up right now. And Molly looks like she'll have 1 lap to go. And then I think to the other girls, maybe a half lap to go.
Yeah, these guys look like they Well, two of them looked like they were in pretty good shape coming across the line. Actually, the girls have outdistanced one of the boy runners.
Yeah, so the first Nottingham girl had finished, so she got first place, and this is Madeline Weeks again, so she's got second. And then the only other girl was Molly, we saw just before. She'll get third, so second and third. And some of it's just strategizing. It's not necessarily every race going out all out. It's, getting points to sort of win the meet. So these were points to win the meet, not necessarily to beat that Nottingham girl.
I know in some of our past events, when you've helped announce, you've talked about how running in the rain is not necessarily a bad thing. But I can tell you from our end, it's nice to have a dry day for once this season. It's been a very wet season.
It has actually, getting some nice days recently. But it depends on what your event is too. The sprinters like the heat, the hot weather. That's great for them. It's their muscles are warm and they go fast. And distance runners, like you're watching right now, they prefer the cooler weather. That's why sometimes when it's raining, if it's cooler. They actually enjoy that. Easier to breathe. Their temperatures don't go up as much because they're exercising for a long period of time. In the heat, their temperature goes very high, and it's difficult to perform at your best. So
I would think for the relay events, the handoff in the rain might be a bit of a problem.
Oh, very nice. And that was you're right. That's an excellent example, Corey, of bending his back around that bar.
You're carrying the extra weight of the hat.
Well, he's always a slave to fashion.
Well, speaking of relays, here comes the girls' 4x400 meter relay. This will be our final event of the day.
So each girl are going one lap around. And again, we talked about events. This is Valandra Riggins' fourth event of the day. She's a senior, and for our seniors, especially our better ones, we count on them to be able to run up to 4 events when we need them to. So that's what she's doing, and she has, a lot of points in this meet to help us hopefully win. We'll see how this relay goes.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm expecting big things out of the 4x400 relay team. They've had a fantastic season.
Yep, Penn Relays. They won their heat actually. Won a Penn Relays plaque. First time we've done that in a couple of years, and ran one of the better times in the county when they did that. So Valandra looks like getting out to an early lead for us.
Yeah, she'll be handing off the baton with first place at the moment. By quite a bit, in fact.
Yep, strong run. And then that's Sarah Simius. So we've seen Sarah. This is her fourth event. She did the 100 hurdles. She did the high jump. We saw her. And she was in that first event, the 400 hurdles. So only a sophomore. And she's doing 4 events. But again, she's very talented and a strong, hard worker. So
now tell me, what kind of psychology would go into selecting the order that the 4 different girls would run in?
There's any number of reasons. It depends on the meet. It depends on your lineup, who you have. The easiest thing is maybe making sure your 4th leg, also known as the anchor, is one of your better runners, to try and either keep the lead or to run down someone who already has the lead. And beyond that, you can mix and match who's tired, who's a better 200-meter runner, who's, do we want to get out and take the lead? So there's a whole bunch of things that do play into it. And so although Sarah looks tired here, against her 4th event, she has held on the lead.
I think you got to wait for the baton there.
Yep, okay. Still in the lane. Yep, they got a zone, so they're getting through it a little bit. And this is Anna again. We've seen her a couple times today.
Now, what would happen if she had actually run out of the zone before the handoff?
Yeah, then it depends. If she came back in the zone to get the baton, it would be okay. If she accepted the baton outside the zone, then it would have been a disqualification. And the zone's a little bit bigger than people think it is. But the baton must be handed to the other runner within the zone. They can drop the baton, but once they exchange the baton, it's got to be within that determined area, which is located on the track by arrows, so the runners know where it is.
Now, judging by the gap, I'd say the Nottingham team has made up a little bit of time that they had given up in that first leg.
I think the second leg they'd gained it up. I think Anna actually has maybe increased it back a little bit. So they did make up on the second leg. Now, like we said, on the anchor, having one of your stronger runners. So our strongest runners were our first and fourth. So this is Heaven Cartwright, who won the 400 earlier today. So obviously that's who you want on your anchor. Someone that you don't think can catch. Yep, and it looks like they had trouble getting their handoff in at the end. So Heaven got out hard, and almost an insurmountable lead, it looks like, on this last leg for Lawrence over Nottingham.
And for all she's done today, she doesn't look tired right now either.
Yeah, and let's see, count her up. So she's 100, 400. Was she in the 200 or 100? I might be counting up. This is at least her third event of the day, too.
And she'll be rounding the final corner and heading for the finish line. And we hear a lot of good crowd participation cheering on the runners as they head for the finish line.
And last running event of the day, so it's always, a lot of runners are done, and they can be a little more spectating since they're not doing their warm-ups or cool-downs for their events anymore. There we go.
And there's a big win for Lawrence.
Yep, an important 5 points. And that should seal the deal for the girls' team. So that should be a win for the Lawrence over Nottingham.
Oh, an excellent event overall. Still got a third team coming in Wilberforce, I believe. And despite being back from the other two teams, this girl's giving it her all.
Yeah, that's great to see. Great to see.
And that will do it for the track meet today from Lawrence. Thank you, Tim, for joining us today.
I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
And folks, remember to tune in next time for more exciting action on the Cardinal Sports Network.